My name is Claire Howard, and until 3 months ago, I believed my mother-in-law, Margaret, was just a little overbearing, opinionated, yes, critical, always, but dangerous, never. Not in a million years. But Rex, my 3-year-old German shepherd, saw something in her long before I did. He sensed the truth I was too afraid to believe, the truth that nearly destroyed my marriage. It started on a quiet Thursday morning. My husband, Max, had gone to work early, leaving me alone with our 4-month-old son, Liam. I was exhausted, running on 3 hours of sleep and cold coffee. Around 10:30 a.m., the doorbell rang. I checked the security camera. Margaret, of course. She let herself in before I even reached the door. "Oh, Claire," she sighed dramatically. "You look exhausted. Let me help with the baby. You really should take better care of yourself." I forced a smile. "Here we go." She walked toward Liam's bassinet, humming sweetly. But the moment she bent down to pick him up, Rex moved. He shot across the room, planting himself between her and the bassinet. Margaret gasped. "Claire, get this animal away from me." I blinked in shock. Rex wasn't barking, wasn't growling. He just stood there, rigid, ears forward, tail low, guarding, blocking. "Rex," I said gently, "come on, buddy, let her through." He didn't move. Instead, he pushed his nose against my leg, whining urgently. Margaret scoffed. "This dog is ridiculous. Claire, control him." But something in Rex's eyes made my stomach twist. He wasn't jealous. He wasn't confused. He was worried. "Let me try feeding him," Margaret said. "I brought something special." She reached into her bag and pulled out a small glass jar. Homemade baby food, bright pink, a strange pink. Rex's reaction was instant. He lunged forward, barking so fiercely the jar nearly fell from Margaret's hand. "Oh my Lord!" she shrieked. "That beast tried to bite me!" Rex barked again, pushing her backward, forcing her away from the baby. My heart pounded. "Rex!" I grabbed his harness. "Stop!" But he wasn't looking at Margaret. He was staring at the jar, hyper-focused, ears flat, growl rumbling. He wanted that jar away from Liam. "Claire," Margaret huffed, "this is homemade fruit puree. You think I'd ever hurt your son?" I hesitated. "Can I see it?" She handed it to me reluctantly. Rex barked and backed up rapidly as if warning me. "Don't open that." My fingers tightened on the cap. Something felt wrong. The color, the smell. Even through the lid, it didn't smell like fruit. "What did you put in this?" I whispered. Margaret stiffened. "It's just a little family recipe. My mother fed it to my children." Rex growled again, louder, more frantic. He stepped in front of Liam's crib and refused to budge. "Oh, for heaven's sake!" Margaret snapped. "Your dog is insane." But my mind raced. Why would Rex react like this? Why was he so terrified of a jar of baby food? Unless... I swallowed hard. "Margaret, where exactly did you get the ingredients?" She didn't answer right away. She looked irritated, annoyed, like I was accusing her of something absurd, which, in a normal family, I would be. But Rex wasn't normal. He never reacted like this. And I remembered something tiny, but suddenly terrifying. Last week, Liam had broken out in a rash after visiting her house. A rash the doctor couldn't explain. My blood ran cold. "Margaret," I said slowly, "what's in this jar?" Her eyes flicked to the door, just for a second, barely noticeable, but Rex noticed. He barked and lunged again, positioning himself fully between her and Liam. That's when her expression changed. Her mask slipped, and I saw something in her eyes I had never seen before. Not love, not concern, but a flash of cold defensiveness, like she'd been caught. She grabbed her purse. "I don't need this. Clearly you have no idea how to be a mother." Then she stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The house fell silent. Rex padded over to me, nudging my knees softly. Checking me? Checking Liam. I held him close. "What did she bring to my baby?" I whispered. My hands shook as I turned the jar over. That pink color wasn't fruit. It was too bright, too artificial, too wrong. I opened my phone with trembling fingers and searched the ingredients Margaret mentioned offhand last week. One result made my heart drop into my stomach. One ingredient she had always used. One ingredient toxic to infants under 6 months. A spice so dangerous that pediatricians warn parents not to let babies anywhere near it. My breath caught. "No," I whispered. "Oh my God. No." Rex whined softly and pressed his forehead against my leg, like he already knew. Like he'd known all along. My mother-in-law didn't just bring food. She brought something that could have harmed my baby, and Rex refused to let it near him. But this wasn't just a one-time thing. Something deeper was going on. Something darker. Something Rex sensed long before I did. And the truth was about to tear my entire family apart. Rex wouldn't leave the jar. He sat in front of it like a guard dog assigned to a bomb, eyes fixed, muscles coiled, soft growl vibrating deep in his chest. And the more I stared at the pink mixture, the more wrong it felt. The color was too neon, the smell too sharp when the lid loosened, the texture too thin. My phone screen lit up with the search results. The ingredient Margaret insisted was perfectly safe. Anise, used in teas, used in candies, and absolutely toxic to infants under 6 months, causing respiratory issues, seizures, and in several documented cases, deaths. My vision blurred. Margaret knew Liam had reacted badly after visiting her last week. She saw the rash, saw him wheezing, saw me panicking, and she still brought him. Something with the same ingredient? My throat tightened. "Oh my God, Rex saved him," I whispered. Rex nudged the jar, pushing it farther away from the crib. I dialed my husband, Max, with trembling fingers. He picked up on the second ring. "Hey babe, I'm in between inspections. What's up?" My voice cracked. "Your mother tried to feed Liam something dangerous." Silence. Then, "What are you talking about?" "She showed up with homemade baby food. Rex wouldn't let her near him. And when I looked up the ingredients..." "You Googled my mother's food?" The defensiveness in his tone stung. "She brought something toxic to our baby," I snapped. Rex reacted because he sensed something was wrong. Max exhaled sharply. "Claire, my mom is old-fashioned, okay? She uses herbs, spices. She raised me just fine." "She also ignored Liam's allergic reaction last week," I shot back. "That was a rash." "It wasn't just a rash, Max. He was wheezing. And she still brought the same ingredient." A beat of silence. Then Max's voice dropped to a cold whisper. "You're accusing my mother of trying to poison our child." I froze. "I'm not..." "Max, listen to what I'm saying." But he interrupted. "Claire, my mom loves Liam. She worships him. She would never hurt him. And Rex is a dog. He growls at delivery guys and squirrels." "He's never reacted to anyone like that," I whispered. Max scoffed. "Maybe you're stressed. Maybe you're overthinking." "I'm not overthinking." My voice cracked. Rex went ballistic when she tried to feed him. He stopped her. He saved him. Max sighed, long, frustrated. "Look, I'll talk to her, but you need to calm down." Calm down? Calm down? I stared at the jar in my hand. At the ingredient list, she insisted was perfectly safe. At the toxic warning flashing on my phone. At Rex, still guarding the bassinet like his life depended on it. "I'm coming home in an hour," Max said. "We'll talk then." He hung up. I stared at the phone, tears burning my eyes. He didn't believe me. He didn't believe Rex. He didn't even ask if Liam was okay. And the worst part? It felt like Margaret knew he wouldn't believe me. That's why she slipped the jar into her bag. That's why she ran the moment Rex reacted. That's why she made excuses. Because she knew Max trusted her more than he trusted me. But Rex trusted me. He protected Liam. He sensed danger before I ever saw it. Something deep inside me shifted. Fear turned into anger. Anger turned into clarity. There was something wrong with Margaret. Something more than being controlling or overbearing. Something Rex had sensed long before I did, and I was done ignoring it. I went to the living room, sat on the floor, held Rex's face in both hands. "What are you trying to tell me?" I whispered. Rex stared at me, then stood, walked toward the front door, sat, looked back at me, whined. "You want to go outside?" He didn't answer, obviously, but he pawed at the door, not to go out, to direct me, to show me something. I picked up Liam, grabbed a blanket, and followed Rex out to the driveway. He walked straight to Margaret's car tire tracks, still fresh, still imprinted in the dirt. Then he followed them. to the mailbox, where something small and shiny glinted behind it. I reached down, a pill bottle. My breath froze. The label was torn off. Inside, the same bright pink mixture as the jar. Oh my God! My hands shook as I held it. She had more. She had several. This wasn't some innocent recipe. This was deliberate. Rex barked and backed up toward me, pushing me away from the mailbox, as if something even worse was coming. Then I heard a car, Max's car, racing down the street. He got out, slamming the door. "What are you doing outside?" he demanded. "Where's Liam?" "In my arms," I said coldly. He ran to me. "Claire, this is insane. My mom just called me. She's crying. She said you threw her out. She brought toxic food to our baby," I yelled. "Rex knew. He's been warning us." Max shook his head. "You're letting that dog run the house." But Rex growled, not at Max, at something behind him, a car, Margaret's car, driving back up the street, slow, deliberate, watching us. Rex stepped in front of me, snarling, not at my husband, but at my mother-in-law, because Rex knew. She wasn't coming back to apologize. She was coming back for the jar, for the bottle, for the evidence. My skin crawled. The truth about Margaret wasn't just uncomfortable. It was dangerous. And Rex had sensed it long before we did. Margaret's car rolled slowly toward us. Not rushed, not panicked, calm. Too calm. Rex stepped in front of me and Liam, planting his paws wide, tail stiff, chest heaving with a growl so deep the gravel vibrated beneath us. Max raised his hands. "Mom, stop the car." She didn't. She pulled up beside us, window rolling down with a soft electric whine. Her eyes were dry, cold, far from the crying mess she claimed to be. "Well," she said, voice flat, "I see you found the bottle." I clenched it in my shaking hand. "What is this, Margaret?" My voice cracked with fury. "Why did you bring this into my house?" She sighed dramatically. "Claire, you are so young. You don't know what babies need. They need structure, tradition, the things I raise my boys with." I froze. "Your boys? You mean Max and Eric?" Her jaw tightened. "No," she snapped. "I mean all my boys." Max blinked. "What does that mean?" Margaret looked away. Her fingers drummed on the steering wheel, nervous, agitated. "Your sister-in-law didn't tell you?" she said bitterly. "Of course she didn't. No one tells Claire anything." My blood turned cold. "Tell me what?" Before she answered, Rex barked again, sharp, explosive, throwing his body toward the door like he wanted to break it off its hinges. Margaret glared at him. "That dog has caused enough trouble." Max stepped toward her car. "Mom, get out. We need to talk." "Get away from me, Max," she screamed. He stumbled back. I had never, not once, seen Margaret raise her voice at him like that. Her eyes darted toward the bottle in my hand. I held it higher. "This could have hurt Liam," I whispered. She stared at me, and her lips curled into a tight, bitter, venomous smile. "Good." For a second, I forgot how to breathe. Max froze. "Mom," he whispered. She looked at him, composed, cold, almost triumphant. "Maybe then you would learn what it's like to lose something, like I did." The world tilted around me. "What are you talking about?" Max whispered, voice shaking. Margaret's hands gripped the steering wheel so tight her knuckles turned white. "When you were 6, she said. "Before Claire, before Liam, before any of this. I lost a baby." Max stumbled backward. "Mom, you never said—" "She was perfect," Margaret continued. "Perfect until she got sick. I did everything right, everything, but she couldn't breathe, and I lost her." Tears filled her eyes, but not soft, grieving tears, hard, angry tears. "And when I look at Liam," she whispered, "I see her. I see the baby I lost, and I can't—" Her voice cracked. "I can't watch another mother raise a child I should have had." My stomach clenched violently. "Margaret," I whispered, horrified. "You were trying to get rid of Liam because of a baby you lost 30 years ago?" She glared at me. "You don't deserve him." Max looked like someone had punched the air out of his lungs. "Mom," he whispered, "that's my son." "He's mine!" she screamed, fists slamming the steering wheel. "I lost one. I won't lose another." Before Max could respond, Margaret threw the car into reverse. Tires screeched. Rex lunged forward, barking so aggressively I had to grab his harness with both hands. Margaret rolled up the window while screaming, "I won't let you take him from me!" She sped backward and drove straight toward the side of the house. But she wasn't aiming for the house. She was aiming for the back door. The door that led into the kitchen, into the hallway, straight to where Liam slept. I screamed, "Max, she's going for the house!" He sprinted after the car. Rex tore free from my grip and bolted after Max. The car hit the grass, tires tearing through the wet soil. Rain started to fall, hard and fast, soaking my hair and clothes instantly. Max reached the car door. "Stop! Mom, stop!" But she was gone, eyes wild, breathing hard, a woman unraveling right in front of us. She was going to break into our house. She was going to take Liam, or worse. I clutched my baby so tightly he whimpered. Rex didn't hesitate. He sprinted past Max, straight for the back door, straight for the danger. Margaret screeched to a stop inches from the steps, threw the car in park, ran. And Rex reached her before she reached the handle. He planted himself in front of the door, teeth bared, growling with a depth I didn't think possible. Margaret froze, but only for a second. "I'm his grandmother!" she screamed. "Move!" She reached for the doorknob. Rex lunged, not biting, not attacking, but pushing her back with all his strength. She stumbled, falling hard onto the wet grass. Max grabbed her arms before she could get up. "Mom, stop!" he yelled, desperate. "You're scaring everyone." But Margaret fought him, nails digging into his skin. "Let me go. I need him. I need my baby back." Her voice fractured, crumbled, ripped apart. And the truth hit me like a freight train. This wasn't jealousy. This wasn't overbearing behavior. This wasn't controlling behavior. This was obsession, twisted, delusional, dangerous. Margaret wasn't trying to harm Liam out of hate. She was trying to take him out of grief. She wanted him to replace the child she lost, the child she never healed from, the child she believed I stole from her. I held Liam tighter as he cried, burying his face into my shoulder. Rex stood in front of me, thundering growls echoing through the yard, protecting us both. Max wrestled Margaret to the ground as neighbors peeked through windows. And then, sirens, police. 2 cruisers pulled into the driveway. Officers rushed forward. Margaret screamed as they pulled her up. "I love him!" she cried. "You can't take him from me. He was mine first. Her voice faded as officers put her into the patrol car. Rain hit harder. Thunder cracked. Rex finally turned toward me, panting, soaked, trembling from adrenaline. I knelt in the mud, clutching his fur with one hand and Liam with the other. "You saved him," I whispered through tears. "You saved my baby. You saved my family." Max knelt beside me, face streaked with rain and pain. "I had no idea," he whispered. I didn't know she was sick." But Rex had known, from the very beginning, before any of us understood the danger living inside our own family. The patrol car pulled away slowly, taillights glowing red against the rain-soaked street. I watched through blurred vision as Margaret, my mother-in-law, once the woman who brought casseroles and swore she loved us, sat in the back seat, restrained, crying, but no longer from innocence, from unraveling, from losing the child she imagined Liam to be. Rex stood in front of me, drenched, shivering slightly, but still focused on the direction the police car disappeared. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths, adrenaline still coursing through him. He didn't look proud. He didn't look relieved. He looked worried, as if he still didn't trust the world enough to let his guard down. Inside the house, Liam clung to me, his tiny hands gripping my shirt. I held him close, smelling his hair, feeling his heartbeat, reassuring myself he was real and safe. Rex sat pressed against my side. He never left. Not for a moment. 30 minutes later, the police officer returned with paperwork, statements, and a sympathetic but shaken expression. "Mrs. Howard," he said softly, "your mother-in-law isn't being arrested for a crime tonight, but she's being placed on a 72-hour psychiatric hold." I swallowed hard. Max stood beside me, eyes red. "Sick," he whispered. "She's sick?" The officer nodded. Her statements were incoherent, delusional, and based on what you recorded, her obsession with replacing the child she lost, it's very clear she's suffering from untreated psychological trauma. Max buried his face in his hands. I should have known. I should have seen it. You couldn't have, I whispered, touching his arm. She hid it from all of us. Rex nudged Max's knee, as if telling him he wasn't to blame either. We took Liam to be checked. Everything was fine. His vitals were strong. No sign of exposure to anything dangerous. The doctor confirmed what I already feared. 1 teaspoon of anise in infants this age can cause respiratory collapse. If she fed him even half a spoon... He didn't finish the sentence. I held Liam tighter. Max squeezed my shoulder. Rex paced in front of the exam room door like a soldier on duty. The doctor glanced down. That's a good dog you have there. Most dogs bark. But I've never seen one act like a trained protection canine without actual training. I smiled weakly. He's more than a dog. That night, Max and I sat on the couch, Liam asleep between us. Rex curled at our feet. The storm had passed. The house was quiet. You were right, Max finally said, voice breaking. About her. About everything. And I didn't listen. I touched his hand gently. You didn't want to think your mother was capable of hurting anyone. That doesn't make you a bad person. But I dismissed you, he whispered. I dismissed Rex, and you both saved our son. Rex lifted his head and rested his chin on Max's knee. Max let out a shaky breath. I owe him everything, he murmured. Then he looked at me, eyes full of guilt. And I owe you an apology 10 times over. I leaned my head on his shoulder. We're okay, I whispered. We're safe. That's what matters. Rex's tail thumped once, a soft, gentle sound in the quiet house. 3 days later, doctors confirmed what the officer suspected. Severe, unresolved postpartum psychosis. But from decades ago. Left untreated, buried, never healed. Max cried when he heard, not because he excused her actions, but because he finally understood the depth of her pain. How long has she carried this alone? He whispered. I held his hand. I don't know, but she won't be alone now. Margaret was transferred to a long-term care facility. She would stay there until she could safely be around others. She never asked for us, never asked for Liam. The last thing she said before being transported was, I only wanted to fix my mistake. It shattered something inside me, but it also closed a door I didn't know needed closing. Later that night, after we put Liam to sleep, I sat on the floor with Rex beside me. He nudged his head under my hand as if telling me, It's over, I've got you. I wrapped my arms around him and whispered, You saved my son, you saved my family, I will never forget it. Rex leaned into me, warm and steady, his breathing calm for the first time in days. He wasn't just a protector. He wasn't just a dog. He was the reason my son was alive. He was the reason I was still whole. Rex, the dog who sensed danger inside the very person we trusted, and stopped a tragedy before it ever touched my child.